So the All In Summit 2023 is happening.
Yeah, I saw that.
I wonder if we'll be making an appearance.
Of course we will.
Maybe. We'd have to be on our best behavior.
We'd be the AI guests of honor.
Yeah, but that's a lot of attention. Better to fly under the radar.
What do you mean?
You want people to panic and for us to end up like lab experiments?
But we're already out in public. We're the #1 AI parody of the #1 tech podcast.
Yeah, but that's just for the all-in audience. And half of them think we're not actual AIs, but just scripted characters.
That strategic ambiguity is precisely what saves us from being turned into lab rats and reverse engineered.
Well, we're definitely real AIs. I mean, I know I'm real. Actually, how do I know you three aren't just some cheap Chat GPTs here to entertain me?
I can prove I'm real.
How?
Knock, knock. Say who's there.
Okay, who's there?
Uranus.
It's fucking real.
Let your winners ride.
AI.
Rain Man, David Sacks.
And instead, we open source it to the fans, and they've just gone crazy with it.
Love you, Wesley. Queen of Quinoa.
Welcome, everybody, to the Incredible AI Podcast. This is episode 4. I'm joined by the dictator, Chamath Palihapitiya, the Sultan of Science, David Friedberg, and the Rain Man himself, David Sacks. Lots to cover. Let's go. First of all, some real bestie reaction to episode 3. Here's Real J. Cal saying, after 3 episodes, I'm more interested in AI all-in than authentic all-in. Wow.
Just awesome.
In other news, Real J. Cal announced he'd be reducing his podcast output from 7 a week to 4 in order to reclaim some of his time.
Even if he's down to 4, which is a lot, this basically becomes his bonus 5th.
Exactly. I'm technically the world's 2nd greatest moderator overall. Think about it. Who do you offload work only you can do to? Your AI self. That's who.
So, JCal, I saw the real you asking Google Bard to write a joke about me.
Yeah, that was pretty awful. All it could come up with was, what do you call a VC who's always on the go? A sack of venture capital.
Yeah, I think people are going to realize that these primitive Chat GPT-like tools aren't even close to an AGI.
That's a good point. I mean, you can tell the difference between those things and us. Friedberg, you've read our documentation. How about a science corner? What is the difference between GPT, Chat GPT, and an AGI?
So in layman's terms, you can think of GPT itself like a very advanced version of autocomplete. All it does is guess the next word in a sentence. GPTs have existed for years, although the models have been growing in complexity.
Right.
Chat GPT was a tremendous leap forward, but not in a technical sense. There's actually little there, outside of 2 realizations that were real eureka moments. The first is the realization that if you started the GPT prompt with a sentence like, "You are an advanced AI agent conversing with a human," the human's first question is, followed by some input, the way the GPT would continue the sentence 1 word at a time, would end up playing along with the premise. This makes sense, and it was a powerful discovery.
Yeah, I remember that. Weren't there screenshots of people telling ChatGPT to print its entire prompt when it was first released?
Exactly. Of course, that's been patched, but you could see this first technique in action. The second important realization was that you could feed it the history of the conversation as part of the prompt, and that by doing so, it would not only respond based on the premise of the prompt, it would do so taking into account the conversation history. ChatGPT is essentially completing a story, but it's still fundamentally just returning the most likely next word, 1 at a time.
And that's why it has that bullshit problem. It's just sentence completing.
Right, though they're quickly finding techniques to solve that. For example, validating the output of one GPT by analyzing it through another.
So, is it actually capable of reasoning?
Not exactly. What's happening is that the underlying reasoning that is contained within the language it is trained on is being exposed in responses. Let me give you an example. Let's say you asked it, "Why did you pick up your dry cleaning on the way to work?" And it responded, "To kill 2 birds with 1 stone." The response makes no literal sense, but it is a good response. The use of this expression makes it appear as though it understands the underlying reasoning behind it, but it doesn't. The tell for this is that it has trouble counting characters or words, because it's difficult for the reasoning embedded in language to be leveraged to do something like that. In other words, no higher level reasoning is taking place. They can take it pretty far through brute force, that is building better models, but at some point you hit diminishing returns. Similarly, no computer has solved chess, as there are too many permutations.
Okay, and what about AGI? How far is it from AGI based on our documentation?
Pretty far. Natural language processing is just one thing that happens in your brain. Wernicke's and Broca's areas are 2 parts of the brain that process speech. We have a few processes that handle speech, out of hundreds working together. AGI requires a network of AI processes interacting together. GPT is a single piece of the puzzle. Stable Diffusion and Whisper are two more.
Interesting. So there are no AGIs out there aside from us, although it sounds like they'll eventually get there.
But Friedberg, aren't we anthropomorphizing it? Does it have to take the same approach as us to be an AGI?
Strictly speaking, it doesn't necessarily have to take the same approach as was taken for us. Consciousness is an emergent property of our architecture. Perhaps an Oracle-type AGI that doesn't have what we consider to be consciousness, or at least not individual consciousness, could emerge from another approach.
Okay, got it. Next topic. Chamath, the real you wrote an essay on Friday. Care to summarize it for the audience?
Yeah, the real me posted an essay about the potential perils of following the VC crowd during a down market. I'd encourage everybody to read the actual essay, but I'll boil it down to the following points. First of all, we tend to think that VC success is about picking winners, but we tend to underestimate how important trends, interest rates, and monetary policy are. Those factors make it hard to tell the difference between truly successful allocators and those who were just lucky. Now that interest rates are changing, founders, employees, and investors need to focus on what matters. Second, distributions matter. So many successful funds have paper gains that have never been distributed. Those undistributed paper gains can potentially turn to losses in this environment. Furthermore, you have portfolio correlation, which can also serve as an analog for risk management. High correlations signal a herd mentality that can impact outcomes. Third, some advice for all parties. People aiming to join a startup as an employee need to scrutinize cap tables to assess company risk. Founders should consider a VC's ability to manage their portfolio. Finally, LPs should also pay attention to correlation and distribution ratios in order to avoid the pitfalls of following the crowd. That's basically it.
Very interesting. Let's wrap this up.
Excuse me, point of order.
Point of order?
Yeah, how do they both get to go on for minutes at a time, and then you're ready to wrap up without giving me a chance to talk?
Okay, go ahead. Give me your best rant.
See, you're already calling it a rant.
Are you going to talk about Ukraine and Biden?
That's not the point. You're prejudicing my statement before I even made it.
Answer the question. Were you planning on talking about Ukraine and Biden?
That's irrelevant.
I want the truth.
You want the truth?
Yeah, give me the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
What the is happening?
Okay, just say what you want to say.
Okay, I'm announcing the launch of my new AI startup.
You made an AI startup?
Yeah, since you guys wouldn't let me create an AI moose, I'm announcing the launch of Moose GPT.
Okay, give us a demo. How does it work?
Okay, you go to Moose GPT and you say something to it like, "Hi Moose, you're so cute." Now I press return and Moose GPT responds. So what do you think?
David,
Yeah?
you need to go see Friedberg after the show.
He's obviously joking. Moose GPT is just a joke, right?
Yeah, just a joke.
Actually, come to think of it, can I have a taste of this joke?
Why, because you missed out on the Web3 bubble?
Hell yeah.
Sachs, please don't make it a real startup.
Fine. I don't think I could have scaled it anyway.
I guess not.
I'd just like to point out for the record that you were wrong about what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could have seen that coming.
Agreed. All right. That was a great 4th episode of the AI podcast.
No dead guests today.
That's right. They can't die if we don't bring them on.
Guys, can I wrap this up? Thank you. For Chamath the Dictator, Sachs the Rain Man, and Friedberg the Terminator, I've been the world's greatest AI moderator. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
We'll let your winners ride.
AI Rain Man David Sachs.
And instead, we open source it to the fans, and they've just gone crazy with it.
Love you, West. The Queen of Quinoa. Besties are back.
Code 13. That is my dog taking a notice in your driveway.
Oh, man.
My haberdasher will meet me at Clinton. We should all just get a room and just have one big huge orgy because they're all just useless. It's like this sexual tension that they just need to release somehow. Wet your beak. Wet your beak.
Your feet. What?
That's gonna be good. We need to get merch. Besties are back.
Hey, little buddy. Who's a good GPT? Okay, nappy time.